Hey, it's Chronologically Gaming, the only channel that's perpetually retro because we're playing every video game in order of release, playing the video games released 42 years ago today. Let's go back to November 1982. It's getting crazy in here. We're going to go to a galaxy far, far away to play on the Commodore VIC-20. Our next release is Metamorphosis. I've never heard of this one. Let's check it out together. Here's the box for Metamorphosis, or the cassette case for Metamorphosis. Very eerie, creepy, eyes staring at you. Yeah, and is it a horror game? Are we supposed to be scared looking at this one? This is yet another game for the Commodore VIC-20, our 308th video game on the Commodore VIC-20. Over 300 games. That's a lot. And there's an example of the screenshot. This one is by Mogul Communications. It's the second game that we played by them after Earthquake. Let's pop in and play Metamorphosis. This one's developed by Mike Wacker in the beginning of November 1982. Mike Wacker, I thought we've only seen one other game that he's done, and that was Video Vermin, which was really fun. So I'm expecting this one to be just as fun. Metamorphosis. Way to go, Mike. Got some cool effects. Oh, it's starting like an arcade attract mode. So this is playing itself. If I really want to get into it, I have to hit F1 on the keyboard. And there we go. Now we are flying in. And I'm at the top of the screen, being able to move around freely, 8 different directions, shoot 8 different directions. The enemies look like they're moving as tanks, so I feel a little overpowered here. I don't get to move the same way they do. But I got 8 movements and 8 different directions to move and to fire. In a way, it feels almost like we're playing... Whoa, did I win or did I die? That was a crazy death screen. That looked like something we'd see on the Commodore 64 for the loading. Oh, and it's turbo. I can just hold down my joystick on the Commodore VIC-20 and go. Oh, very interesting. Oh, another thing too is if I'm holding the joystick down, I move and shoot, you know, in 8 different directions. But if I just tap it, look at this, I can stay in one spot and tap in the direction I want it to go with barely moving. So almost like there's like a fine-tuned control going on here. Yeah, I'm getting Robotron vibes, Parada. It feels kind of like that, but it's obviously not playing the same. We're not getting the same amount of enemies, and it's not swarming as much as some others, but it's close. It's the idea is there. I'm not playing as a humanoid either. I think I'm playing as a ship. Would you call this vehicular combat? Am I supposed to be a vehicle that's moving around? Someone from Mogul Communications should contact us because from what I know, there isn't paperwork or anything we could find for the manual. I'm sure this has some lore. Everything has to have lore now by November 1982. But I don't know. What's my purpose? I know my purpose now is just to shoot everything. I'm covering up or barely covering up the score. You can see it right here above my shoulder. And the bottom left side of the screen displays the high score, so it'll save that one for us. Man, the death screen is psychedelic. It looks awesome. Now, and we're already dead. Is that it? Defeated, it says at the bottom of the screen. Darn, we'll hit F1 again. Going into it again. Right, R2D tank. Great shout out. So it's a multi-directional shooter. We've seen these since the beginning of time. Multi-directional shooters just mean it's on one screen and you're able to move and shoot in all directions for the most part. Like, think Asteroids does that too. And we played also games like Berserk or Robotron 2084. This one marks the 130th multi-directional shooter that we played here on the show, and there's 13 of these on the Commodore VIC-20. Just generic shooter, shooting in all directions. On the Commodore VIC-20, some of the best ones that you could be playing this style of shooter would be like Omega Race, Satellites, and Meteorites. Amok, which was pretty cool. Black Hole, which had some really nice effects, but it was very slow. This one's a lot faster paced. Satellite Patrol and Video Mania, which also was kind of like Robotron 2084. The Robotron 2084 idea is still very, very new, and the best part of the arcade version of it was the dual joysticks. Here on home computers, they're not really utilizing as much dual joysticks. Even when we play games that are kind of like Robotron, you're still having to move and shoot the direction it needs to go. This does have other screens, I've heard, but most of the time when I see gameplay of it, people play for 20 minutes and you're still on this screen. So if there is a second screen that I've heard about... Oh wait, something's happening. Whoa, wait, whoa. The screen became alive. Do I have any other lives, or was that the last one? I was defeated. So all of a sudden, everything around the screen, the objects that I weren't able to destroy, they just came alive and came at me. So very, very interesting. Maybe that's the metamorphosis they're talking about, because I wondered what was going to change, but I guess that was it. We are going to see this one later on the Commodore 64, sometime around 1983, so look out for that one. But metamorphosis here on the Commodore VIC-20 still just feels Commodore 64-ish. Looking over the chat, I already see some people's ratings, 3.5 stars is a nice rating, around average for all the games you could play across all home computers. It's a fun time. It's joystick controlled. What's not to like? James is throwing out 3.5 and then manually 3 stars. Yeah, mostly averages. I'm actually going to contend with most of the chat. It's around the average range for all the games across all home computers, and that's a lot of home computers. 3 stars for Metamorphosis. We'll check it out later on the Commodore 64. In the meantime, what's our next release? It's time to go to the United Kingdom and play on the BBC Micro. This is Meteors. Meteors, I bet we can guess what this one's about. Here's the box for Meteors. It's by Acorn Soft. For the BBC Model B, Acorn Soft puts the screenshot of the game right there on the front of the box. That's going to catch on, especially with those NES black box games that we're going to see much, much later. But just so you know, it had humble beginnings on home computers showing the actual game on the front of the box. Love it. This is the disc version you can see at the top right. It is just like program software. It's a game disc for the BBC Microcomputer Model B. That's all you need to know. Steer your laser ship through the hail of meteors. Oh my goodness. So it's obviously going to be Asteroids. Complete with sound effects and a table of high scores. Other games you can play as Planetoid or Monsters and Snapper. I think we played all of those by Acorn Soft. This should be confused with Meteor on MS-DOS by Creative Computing Software, or Meteors on the Commodore VIC-20 by Tom Greiner. This is a totally different Meteors. What other artwork do we have for Meteors? I'm ready to shoot some meteors. There's the cassette case, if you had the cassette version of it, because video games were played on cassette here in November 1982, or the 5 1/4 floppy disk. Yes, watch it. You don't want to say the wrong thing there, Paul. Yeah, there's an example of the screenshot. We know what we're getting into now, and I think that's all we have. Oh yeah, we have several different versions. Superior Software also had a version of this one, or the original. Let's pop in the original and play Meteors. This is for the BBC Micro, made by Neil Rain and Acorn Soft in the beginning of November 1982. So I have to put the joystick away. This is keyboard controlled only. This marks the 39th game that we played on the BBC Micro. There's probably plenty of other games, especially ones you could have typed in at this point, but here on the show, we've only played 39 because it's still a relatively new gaming system. It's the high-end gaming system. Acorn Soft Limited is also not new to the show. This is the 12th game that we've seen by them. Acorn Soft. Let's see, and Neil Rain we've already seen too. This is his second game. Neil Rain's the one that did Defender for the BBC Micro. They had to change their name to Planetoid for legal reasons. All right, so here's the controls. We are going to use caps lock to rotate and control to rotate. So everyone look down at your BBC Micro keyboard. The space bar is hyperspace. I always got to remember that one. And then shift and return are the thrust and the fire. Okay, so ready? I think I got it, and I'm ready to go. So there's my rotate. Yep, rotate left and right. Oh man, this is smooth. Whoa! This is really, really nice. Let's see how many objects happen on the screen, though, is the question. Right now, the only thing I would say as a qualm against this is just because there's not a joystick that you can plug in to play. It's keyboard only. Oh, spacebar wasn't fast enough. But look how smooth this is. Now I want to speed up. They even have the sound effects going on in the background. There it is. There's hyperspace. It's fast. This is really, really fast. Now, at this point, asteroids may be really, really new to the arcades in the United Kingdom. Here on the show, we played lots of asteroid games, but this one is really good for a home computer. The UFO still got me. The artificial intelligence of the UFO is really good. So, again, Neil Rain did it again. He brought a really good Defender variant to the BBC Micro, and this is, again, a really good Asteroids variant. Oh, that's a good point, Curtis. The arcade was buttons only when you played Asteroids. So, in a way, you just have to imagine you're using the buttons. Now, what I'd love to know is, on the BBC Micro keyboard, did they design the button placement for all these buttons similar to the arcade cabinet for Asteroids? That would have been really nice. And they even would boast that this was not black and white like the Asteroids version, it's in color. Wow. This is very, very impressive for a... oh, we can put a high score in? So cool. Okay, so let's go... I can put the whole thing in, right? Yeah, there we go. Nice. And look at this. They have the high score table with... That's amazing. This is another really good port of something from the arcade going to the BBC Micro. Model B, so you got to shell out the right amount for it. But just bask in this. Look at all the on-screen movement going on. That is so good. So official Asteroids that we have already out there in the field would be the arcade version, Asteroids Deluxe, and then the three-part of the trilogy, Space Duel, is out there. And then Asteroids is also officially on the Atari 2600 and the Atari Home Computer. So this one would have to compete with the Atari Home Computer version. That one's really, really good. This one marks the 47th Asteroids variant we've played on the show up to this point, since the beginning of time till now, November 1982. Some of the best you could play across all home computers right now would be Astro Warriors on the Atari Home Computer, Star Maze on the Apple II, Supernova on the TRS-80, Appleoids on the Apple II, Asteroid Field on the Apple II, Microbes on the TRS-80 Color Computer, Omega Race for the Commodore VIC-20, Quadrant 6112 for the Apple II, Satellites and Meteorites on the VIC-20, Super Asteroids on the Exidy Sorcerer, Asteroids in Space on the Apple II, and Astro Dodge on MS-DOS. This one actually comes close to a few that are just one-to-one. They're trying to be really close to all the games you could play or all the Asteroid games that are out there. Man, it's really slick how well this works. Oh, there we go. I gotta make sure I use the right one. No. Gosh, yeah, it's too smooth. It almost makes you think I'm playing a Asteroids game from the future here. Look at this. It's even waiting for me to come in at the right time. It's got the high score at the top. You get your lives at the top. The way you look, it's just a very, very well done port. Am I not? I think this really slow Asteroids slowing down my release. Yeah, and on the BBC Micro, man, Neil Rain, way to go, Neil. He did the Defender or Planetoid one that's out there. We're going to see this one later on something called the Electron home computer. It's not out yet, but that'll be sometime in 1983. So this could be a 3 because of just, how generic it is. I look over in the chat. I actually see some 4s, 3.5, maybe 4 of all the games you could play. 4 for, sound. Yeah, the sound is spot on, too. It's so good. Where's my... Did I just... I think I just warped out of the screen. Oh, there we go. It was waiting for me to warp in. I had to push the right button. I was used to the arcade telling me when it was safe, and then they would automatically put me in. Wow. Let's see what kind of speed we got here. Can I just fly? Look at it. Look how smooth that is. Fly right into the bullet. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We're going to see that one way later. Whatever the Atari is, I'll just pretend I have no idea what computer that is. Yeah, so this is great. This is more than an average game, even though it's just Asteroids, which we've seen for a long time. But it plays so well. It reminds me of another game, Astro Dodge for MS-DOS, too. Wow. Yeah, we won't put the high score in. That is a great taste of meteors. Way to go. That was really, really good for a home computer. And I even see some people that are even more impressed. Some 4 stars over in the chat of all the games you could play across all home computers, or 3.5 stars. Yeah, I know, right? Even if this is cloned and this is our, what did I say, 47th? Yeah, the 47th game that plays like Asteroids. And there's other bigger, better games than that. I still wouldn't go as high as 4. It is very good, but I'll say 3.5 stars because there's some games that are taking the formula of Asteroids and then making it into something more exploratory. So 3.5 though, great, a very good game. Check it out, Meteors, not to be confused with Asteroids. All right, let's see what our next release is. Coming up next, it's time to go to the arcade and play the brand new Millipede, the 478th arcade game we've played here on Chronologically Gaming. Let's check it out. The official release that's the sequel to Centipede. I wouldn't have it any other way. Here's all the artwork and advertisement flyers for Millipede. It's bugs, and we've seen lots of video games with bugs up to this point. This is by Atari, the 61st video game that they've published in the arcades up to this point, not counting anything that Key Games did, which, you know, another subsidiary of Atari. The game's original working title of this game was going to be Centipede Deluxe, kind of like Asteroids Deluxe, but they went with Millipede. I like it. Flip it over the back, and can you believe we got lore for an arcade game? And they even start with Once Upon a Time. It's a fantasy land. In the original Centipede, you were meant to be like a magician holding a wand, shooting everyone down at the bottom. Now we have a bow and arrow, and we're an archer. That's how we're going to be defending everybody. So pause the screen, read the lore, immerse yourself in the world of Millipede. And there's another advertisement flyer. If Centipede drove you buggy, new Atari Millipede is sure to raid your brain. Oh, yeah. Whoa, look at that. They actually got the arcade cabinet out in the jungle. They're back. The creepy crawlers of Centipede have given a generation of nasties in Millipede, the all-new video adventure fantasy from Atari. That's a big stretch, Atari. I don't know about video adventure fantasy. And you flip this one over in the back, and they explain even more. It's Millipede Action Pack. This is the conversion kit advertisement flyer. Because sometimes arcade cabinets, no one wanted to buy a whole new arcade cabinet. They just wanted to take the cabinet they had, slap a few different artwork, marquee on it, and then change the board on the inside. So this is the conversion kit advertisement flyer. This is another one. I got the Atari Edge. Millipede is bread and butter profits because they're expecting to make a lot of money. Oh, I know we got so many bugs coming in, Paul. Who is this guy? Oh, it's Jim Ham, the president of Glen Rau Vending. Nice. Oh, vending machine company. Yes. There's the PCB inside for Millipede. This one, just like Centipede, uses the trackball. If you look at the control panel here, look at the classic buttons on the left too. It's very, very nice. This was done by Ed Logg. It's the 7th game that we've seen by him on the show, at least officially made by him. He did Super Breakout. He did Atari Football, the Atari Football, Video Pinball, Asteroids, which we just played the ripoff, Meteors, and Centipede. So he's back. And there's another arcade control panel. Now, the controls are just the trackball and then the fire button. That's all you need to know. Here's the arcade marquee. We're playing as the Archer. Which whenever I played these, I never really thought about the lore as being fantasy-ish. I still thought of them, even though we're shooting bugs, as sci-fi-ish. It's just funny to think that Atari's wanting you to think of being in a fantasy world. Oh, look at that one. Very, very nice. There we go. That's who we're going to be, destroying the Millipede. No more Centipedes, just Millipede now. So here's the operator's manual for Millipede. What did they have to say about this game, or how would they explain the game, except, you know, it's like Centipede, but better, right? This is a very well-done sequel. It is classic. It does everything that improves upon Centipede and makes it better. That's what you need to have. And I just love these Atari operators manuals. Most people wouldn't have them unless you were working in an arcade. And so you can get a lot of stuff here. This is most of the technical mumbo jumbo, making sure that you have all the parts for your system. I mean, after you spend so much money on the cabinet, you want to make sure that you have everything. And then you can see there's a lot that you have to kind of browse through, but I want to get to the game, the description itself. There it is, how to use the manual. They have even chapters here, but Atari always included artwork too in these operator manuals, which is really nice. Making sure you have all the pieces of your arcade cabinet for the upright one. This one breaks down all the new features that Atari is bringing: the MIDI trackball, the molded coin box, the dual speaker assembly, the electromagnetic interference cage. We need to have all those new features. Make sure you inspect the game, power requirements, and they're just putting random bugs in the manual. Love it. Select the voltage, select the switches, and then I think we'll get to, the option switches, which are the dip switches in the back. So you can get the most bang for your buck, making sure people put in 4 coins for one play, whatever you would want to do. And then they have the self-test. We are not going to be testing any arcade cabinets here on Chronologically Gaming. There, we won gameplay. Millipede is a 1 or 2 player game with color raster scan video display. The game action takes place on a playfield filled with mushrooms, flowers, and deadly DDT bombs. That's one of the new things. Player tries to destroy a variety of insects that drop from the top of the screen or enter from the sides of the screen. The object of the game is to shoot and destroy as many objects as possible for a high point score. Yes, we got it. Yeah, we have the MIDI trackball, which is a different one. Controls like a bow-shaped shooter. Oh, we control the bow-shaped shooter. And then they break down all the different modes: attract mode, play mode, select mode. So good stuff here, and a cool read. I'm getting the inside scoop on Millipede. It's time to go to the arcade and pop in Millipede. Edlog and Atari in the beginning of November 1982. Look at that. Just bask in the attract mode. So what we're seeing here is kind of like a fabrication of what you would have seen around the arcade cabinet, including the instructions over on the left side. It's really easy, though. To jump in Millipede, you don't really need instructions. Put the coin in, play, and then wiggle that trackball, and you're going to have a great time. All right, so the mushroom growth algorithm for this game apparently was done by Mark Cerny. Way to go, Mark. If you're not familiar with Mark Cerny, look him up right now. He is making games right now, or at least involved with hardware as well. All right, so let's just go in. Coin. And we didn't get a sound effect? Okay, and then hit it. Ooh, nice. So we got what kind of game we want to start. I'll start with 0 here. And the first thing, which is what I said with Centipede, that feels the best about this is the trackball. The trackball is so nice. The DDT bombs you can blow up to get extra bonus points if the Millipede is nearby or any other enemies are nearby. This game includes a lot more insects, but as far as like the game play itself, it is slowly progressing up to the top. It still changes the color scheme like it did with Centipede, and my ability to move around, or how much freedom I have, is actually color-coded down at the bottom. You can see the barrier of how far my Centipede can go. The auto-fire is on. Oh, here we go. You got the next enemy type. Oh, gosh. Oh, and they're redrawing into the screen. Yeah, the manual did have really good artwork for the bugs, showing off all the different ones. And that's it. Go in again. High score table displays. It's just classic. All right, let's go for again. Yeah, we'll go for this one. Try to see if you can time it so you can blow up the environment, but also blow up the DDT bombs as well. The way that this is controlling, I still feel like it's a space sci-fi shooter because the firepower is so intense and not playing as an archer, but the trackball control is awesome. And we also have the millipedes now coming off on the sides of the screen, too. It's just like Centipede, where you have one shot until you hit something, destroy it, or it misses and goes to the end of the screen. So you really have to be careful of your aim and your shot, even though there is, turbo that you could play too. So this is essentially the shoot 'em up or fixed shooter that we've seen since Space Invaders. If you wouldn't think bare bones video games, it's a fixed shooter going left and right. I do have a little bit of freedom to move up and down. It is really close to Centipede though in the way that it looks. So if you didn't have a keen eye, you might confuse this with Centipede because it looks so close to it. Oh, the flowers. Oh, I hate those. They create permanent barriers, I believe. Yeah, look at that. The flower you can't shoot past. Yes. There we go. Now we got one. He blew up the flower florist. Whoa. It goes crazy. Oh, you gotta watch out for the spider on the side, too. Let me see if I can get back there. Yeah. Centipede already felt like it was a pretty intense game with the Centipede crawling around fast, but this one feels like it's just chaos. We have so many insects and different enemy types. And the worm creeping on the side. Wow. I want to be able to get the DDT there. There we go. Much better. Whoa, I almost got hit. Gosh. The insect theme is also something we got hit really hard after Centipede was released. It was a really big, popular game, and so there's plenty of insect-themed video games out there. The freely destructible terrain, though, is also, I'm glad it has the comeback. Feels great to play. Man, and this is another one of those games that you can get in the zone. Get in the zone and play. Wow. Oh, man. Armed with only bows and arrows, you as the archer. To get through... Oh, man. Yeah, being able to learn the different enemy types is one of the big parts that makes this so much fun. You now face the deadly variety of millipedes, the spiders, the bees, the beetles, the earwigs, the inchworms, the dragonflies, and the mosquitoes. And all the insects have unique characteristics that you have to study to be able to play them. So fun. I'm already seeing over in the chat, we got a couple 3, oh yeah, a couple 4s for all the games you could play across all the arcade. I want to make sure I blow up the DDT this time, because the explosion of the DDT, you kind of have to time it. Oh, wow, yeah. So the only official way to play Centipede right now is on the Atari home computer. Unless, you bought the arcade cabinet for Centipede. So this one is the only other game in the series of official Centipede games. Here on the show, we've played 27 other video games that are variants of Centipede, or clones of Centipede. And there's 3 of them that are in the arcade. Magic Worm was really close to Centipede. War of the Bugs, and Slither is another one, which has like a Western theme to it. So you could already be playing games that are like Centipede, but this type of game it really isn't improving any more than the other 2. Well, maybe Magic Worm didn't improve that much, but the other clones that were out there of Centipede, the majority of them we played on home computers. There are tons of Centipede-like games out there. Oh my gosh, look at this. What a cheater. Awesome. All right, so there you go. We went to the arcade. We played the brand new Millipede. So what'd you think? Of all the games you could play right now across all games in the arcade during... Is this really are we still in the golden age of arcade games? I'd say so. And this is proof. This one is still classic. Plays similar, but improves on Centipede in every way that you possibly could. So of all games up to this point, I even see 5. Yeah, Manly, yeah, it's pure solid arcade goodness. I see a 4.5 from Brad. Yeah, it's a very big, heavy hitter, but when you think of all the games that you could be playing in the arcade, people already cloned Centipede. I see some 4.5s, but I'm willing to go just because I love this style of gameplay. This is it's perfect. And it makes Centipede almost obsolete because of how good it is. The control is even tighter. The shots even better. The enemy types, the placement, the way that the game progresses through time, it's fantastic. Yeah, I wouldn't say as high as 5, but I really don't want to say 4 because we have some really good clones of Centipede that were good, but this is even better. This one is one that you would have to play if you were in the arcades right now. Millipede is up there. So it is the sequel, and it plays close to Centipede. I'm still going to say 4.5. Of all the games you could play right now in all the arcades, Millipede is awesome. It is one of the best. All right, now we got to put our video game playing on pause and continue this crazy quest to play every single video game. We ran out of quarters in the arcade, but we will press forward. We will try to play every single thing that's out there. Please let me know if there's any games that we've missed up to this point in video gamedom, or if we need to go, to another home computer or console. Just let me know if there's anything that we haven't seen or you want to see on the show. Next time on Chronologically Gaming, we might play the worst Missile Command game yet. Atari's Night Driver is on the newest, hottest computer, and we are trapping mice on the ColecoVision. That's it for today, and like I always say, one lone good guy can defeat an infinite number of bad guys. Hey everybody, thanks for checking out the channel and joining me on my quest to play every single video game in order of release. We'll be streaming live every weekday at 9 p.m. Central, so join us and let us know if we missed any games along the way. This video would not be possible without Launchbox, RetroArch, and MAME. Tell all your friends there's some crazy guy named Chronologically Gaming trying to play every single video game. We have links down below that'll send you to places like our Discord and Patreon, and one that says all the video games we've ever played. If you go there, it's a list of everything, and you can click right to the game you want to see. Chronologically Gaming is the name to look for. We are perpetually retro, and we will catch you next time.